Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our SAP Business One version 9.2 webinar. My name is Ian Bate. I work in the marketing team at Milner Browne. Today alongside me I've got Dawn Parker, who is our resident SAP Business One expert. Dawn has worked with SAP Business One for a number of years now, and she also works as the applications director at Milner Browne. Dawn's obviously going to run through a host of new features that are in SAP Business One, some which you may be aware of, things like the browser access and a number of other significant, maybe minor features that are also well worth exploration as well. Obviously, as with all of our webinars, we like these to be as interactive as possible. We obviously welcome all of your questions. What we do is we like to keep all of the delegates and the attendees on mute throughout the presentation, just so there's no background noise and just so Dawn isn't distracted. But obviously we do welcome your questions throughout the webinar. If you go to the control panel on your GoToWebinar screen, you will see the questions tab there. Feel free to send those through as and when they kind of spring to mind. What we'll do is, after the presentation is finished, we'll run through all of those with Dawn. Obviously, SAP Business One version 9.2 is a big release for SAP. It's been in development and testing for around 12 months now. There are a number of official documents that you can download from the Partner Edge. If anybody would like these, please let us know. We can send those on. And there's also a number of official videos as well on YouTube. Again, if you'd like to see these to explore the various different new tools, please let us know, and we'd be happy to send these on. Okay, Dawn is alongside me, so I'll pass over the controls now. Dawn, are you there?
I am, yes.
Excellent. Okay, well, I'll speak to you at the end of the presentation and we'll run through the questions then.
Okay, thank you very much, Ian. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Let's have a look at what we're going to see today. So, quick agenda then, short introduction. Ian's obviously made a start with that. Then I'll go through some of the new features. As you can imagine, there are many new features in Business One 9.2. So I've picked out some of those that I think are useful and interesting, particularly to those of you who've perhaps been using SAP for a longer period. So once we've gone through the individual features, I will talk to you about what your options are for moving forward, if you like what you see with SAP 9.2. Excuse me. And then if we do have time at the end, we may be able to have some interactive questions. Okay, so to follow on from the introduction that Ian just started with there, 9.2 has been on general release from SAP since June 2016. We're now on patch level 4, which just came out in the last week, so we're already starting to see some additional improvements coming through. As with all of SAP Business One new releases, SAP is always trying to look at things from a number of different perspectives. So you'll see in the little funnel there some of the areas that they are addressing. So that's simplifying SAP, extending and evolving it, HANA differentiation, cloud acceleration, browser access, and lower total cost of ownership. Okay, so some of those benefits you'll see as we come through the individual features that we're going to see now. Okay, so first one then. Ever since I've been working with Business one of the things that people have asked for is a way to ensure that alerts that they set up in Business One will work and continue to be sent out and notified to the appropriate people, regardless of whether or not Business One is open. And so finally, great news on that front, SAP has now introduced in 9.2 a new what it calls a service. So that's something that sits in the background running on the server, and that will manage the alerts and ensure that those alerts get sent out regardless of whether somebody's logged into Business One, etc. So it means now that that there's no need to miss any of those important alerts, whatever time of day or night you've set them up to occur on. Okay, well the next one, I think everyone who's worked with Business One for any length of time will be very, very pleased about indeed. The approval procedure in SAP Business One is obviously a very powerful feature, but one of the things that it's lacked up to now is the ability for you to go back and make changes to a rejected document. So what you had to do in effect was to create the document again with the changes in and go through the approval procedure that way. But in 9.2 we now have the ability to update a document that's been rejected, and then it can be resubmitted for approval if still required. The second nice change is that if a document was added first time and didn't cause the approval procedure to be triggered, if at a later date the document was changed, in previous versions of Business One, nothing would then happen to the document. Going forward now, if that document gets updated and it now causes the approval procedure, the condition to be triggered, then it will then enter into the approval procedure. So the benefit of this is it's obviously much faster processing of documents for approval and obviously much more control over your document processing. Another nice feature is the extension of the relationship map facility to the HR module. So previously you had a lot of information set up in your HR module, details about employees, relationships between those employees, what departments they sat in, what teams they were in, how they were organised, but you could only get the information out using a query or some kind of separate report. With the new relationship map feature for HR, you can now look at your employees in terms of the hierarchy, in terms of the organisational chart, and in terms of their teams and roles. So you'll be able to get a lot more visual information about the employees in your system. Another feature that I have been asked for from time to time, and that is on the purchasing side, we have the notion of the goods received not invoiced account. And obviously that is made use of very regularly by all of our Business One users. What has never existed before in Business One is the ability to define a shipped not invoiced account, so that if for some reason a delivery was created but not then added to an invoice, you could have the situation where your cost of sales went into one period and your revenue went into another. So it was something you would have to sort of manage manually. So if your business process requires that sometimes you may do the shipping in 1 month and then the invoicing in a following month, you now have the ability to configure in the system the shipped not invoiced account. What that does is it allows you to set by company or customer or individual marketing document that you want to trigger that process. So what happens is the cost of goods sold value is posted to a shipped not invoiced account at the point of delivery, and then at the point when you add that delivery to an invoice, then the cost of goods sold will be posted into the regular account so that it's in the same period as the revenue. So again, that's just following on from sort of regulatory and standard accounting principles there. This next feature, again to do with relationship maps, again something that has certainly been asked for multiple times. We obviously have we've all got used to using the relationship map feature, and it's very, very powerful. But what we've not been able to do in the past is if for some reason we had a document that was linked to other documents but wasn't part of SAP's standard relationship map feature, we have no way of building our own relationship map. So what SAP have now provided is they've provided the facility on the accounting tab of the marketing document to reference other documents. Okay, they can be in any status, and then when you open the relationship map, you then have the ability to say, I want to run it with reference documents included, and you will then see those documents that you've added into the reference documents table showing up in the relationship map. So in the example here, if you can just make it out, we're showing a couple of sales orders under quotation that are linked to an invoice where they perhaps wouldn't have been linked normally. Okay, so again, I think you'll agree that that will really, really help with transparency and visibility of your system. And it will particularly help, for example, if we do sort of developments maybe, that sometimes we create extra documents and then we might be able to, you know, access this feature to show them to you in the relationship map. The next feature I want to mention is one for those of you who are using the HANA version of SAP Business One. So you'll probably be aware that in that version SAP provides a number of specific features that can only be sort of provided because of the capabilities that HANA offers. So in this case we have a new intelligent forecast facility. And what that does is it provides enhanced features around the forecasting models. I'm not going to explain those to you, the TESM and linear regression, because I'm not a mathematician, but you know, those give you much more sort of trends and seasonal factors, and SAP will select the algorithm that it thinks is suitable for the particular products that you're forecasting. So once you've used the intelligent forecast to generate the forecast information, those results then can be used in the MRP wizard. So it gives you then the you know, added capabilities over and above the standard features that exist in the regular Business One version. Another nice one here is the price update wizard. So you can see a list there of all the features. The one that I thought was particularly interesting is the ability to mass convert prices into different currencies. So it's often been the case where people wanted to offer maybe different price lists to different markets in different currencies. We have the ability to have additional currencies. We also now have the ability to do a mass conversion of those prices into different currencies, actually within the price update wizard itself. So you're going to be able to do your bulk price list updates more easily without necessarily having to use perhaps the data transfer workbench or other tools to update your prices. Another one, this time in the area of MRP. Again, I can remember having been asked for this on many occasions by customers who wanted to be able to run the MRP wizard by supplier. So you now have the ability, when you do your items selection in the MRP wizard window, to actually do the link based on a particular preferred supplier. You can also see there that you can do the selection via UDF fields as well, which again is also useful because many people create user-defined fields against their item master data which are applicable to their business, which you couldn't previously use. So I think for those of you who want to run your MRP wizard by supplier, this gives you that added flexibility. Again, just going back to forecasting, we looked at the intelligent forecast new feature that relates to the HANA version, but what this one is, this relates to all the versions of SAP, and this is now the ability to forecast, to create our forecasts by an individual warehouse. So again, it's giving us much more flexibility because, you know, in a multi-warehouse environment, obviously the demand pattern and therefore the forecast pattern may be quite different, and this allows you to actually build up the information so that then you've got that added capability within your MRP calculations. Again, this is more of a technical sort of support type facility that's been added to SAP Business One in 9.2. And what this is, it's a special user that your support partner, so that's our great help desk, when they need to get access, or possibly even a consultant who needs to come in, or a developer to do something on your behalf, on your system. And in the past, we would have had to have asked you to borrow a login or a license from another user's login. What we now have is the ability to use this special user for support purposes. It's activated through the remote support platform, so that has to be in place and it has to be operating. But it means then, you know, we can log in, we can do something. All our access is logged there, as you can see in that support user log. So it means that you've got both an audit trail, and also there's no disruption to your business, because we're not asking you to take one of your users away from the system for a period of time while we do what we need to. So I think you'll agree that's a very nice new feature. The next one now is perhaps one of the bigger changes in 9.2. SAP has now introduced a brand new module called Project Management. It's still in its infancy, so you will see as 9.2 progresses over the different patch levels and then into the next release, you'll see the functionality around this particular area growing. But I thought it was worth mentioning to you. So it starts to introduce the notion of phases, stages, tasks, etc. So if your business gets involved in project type work and you want to make a start on tracking that through Business One, more so than just on the financial level, which is really what you can do now with the sort of project analysis. So you can now group everything together. You can see both the transactional data and the financial data in one area. So again, this is the beginnings of that new feature, but it will be expanding, I'm sure, as the months progress. Okay, the final new feature that I want to mention today is probably the one that has been talked about for the most length of time, I guess, over the years with SAP Business One. And that is now the ability to access Business One via a browser. Okay, so currently you can use Mozilla Firefox and Google Chrome to access SAP via the browser. So for the technical of you listening in here, as it describes there, it says that the web UI engine translates the Business One screen into what's called HTML5, which is what's visible in your browser. So it also supports hybrid mode, so people can either use SAP through the browser, or they can still continue to use SAP through either their desktop or a terminal server mode. So it has some limitations, and we can provide you some information about that if you're interested. So I've left the SAP note there at the bottom, which basically says that for power users, it's recommended to really continue using the regular client for accessing SAP Business One, because there are certain things that are not available through the browser access. And also to note there that not all add-ons may be compatible for browser access. So again, those have to be looked at separately in terms of your own solution. Okay, so that's the end of the new features. What to do next? Okay, so as Ian said at the beginning, if you require more information about 9.2, the features you've seen, and obviously all the other features that I haven't had time to mention this afternoon, then please contact your account manager. If you already have seen enough and you're convinced that you want to progress and proceed with an upgrade to 9.2, then if you would like an estimate for this upgrade, please would you again contact your account manager, and obviously they'll be very happy to help you with that. Okay, so we do have a little bit of time for questions. As Ian said earlier, any questions that can't be answered directly here today, we will have note of them, and we will be able to go back and address those and send that information out to you after the webinar.
As Dawn mentioned a moment ago, there are nearly 50 new additions to version 9.2, so I'm guessing that you guys have got lots of questions around specific functionality for each of those. It might be that we can't necessarily answer all the questions on the call at the moment, but what we'll certainly do is that you know, if you do have any questions that we might be unsure about, or we certainly need to reference the official documentation, is that we'll kind of get back to those to you offline once the call is finished. As Dawn mentioned there, if you do have any questions about any of the functionality that you saw on the presentation, please send those through now. Dawn, I've got a question here from Lorraine.
Okay.
I'll just read it out to you if that's okay. We sell machinery.
Yeah.
Stock item may have 10 items which all cost different amounts and are serial number tracked. However, on FIFO, the cost is taken as the oldest, which isn't necessarily correct. I was told this has been added in for 9.2. Do you know if this has happened?
Oh, okay. Actually, Lorraine, this new feature was actually in 9.1. So in 9.1, you now have the facility against the item master data to say that you want to track the cost by serial or batch number for serial or batch tracked items. And then you can record the cost on the individual serial number or on the individual batch, and then when you sell that batch or that serial number, then that cost will be what gets posted to cost of sales. So that is already available in 9.1 if you're already on 9.1.
Excellent. Okay, Lorraine says brilliant. Thanks, I'll have a look. Okay, guys, if you want to send your questions through now, we've got Dawn for about another 5 minutes, so you know, now really is the time to run through those and send them across. I think what I'll do is I'll just run through these in chronological order. Okay, Dawn, where are the alerts sent to if SAP is closed? I think that's in reference to one of your first slides.
Yeah, I mean, you have the ability now to send alerts to emails. So, I mean, you've always had the ability to do that by setting the out of office. Which is a button that's available at the bottom of the alerts and messages window.
Perfect. Okay. Question here from Chris. Is the new reference document available at line level?
No, it's at document level. So
Okay.
it's linking documents together rather than lines.
Sure. I hope that helps, Chris. Okay, next question here, Dawn. How do you set up these special users, and can you only create one user at a time to work on the system?
That's a question I will have to go back and get some more information about, but I know it's done through the remote support platform. So which is the tool that gets installed in the background that we use to load up databases to SAP. And it can also be used to check the health of your system, etc. So it's completely outside of the main Business One system. It sits in that particular sort of control panel, if you like. From what I can see on the actual slide, it seems to be showing that there's a number of different users. I think it's one support user, but you can log in and give you details, etc. But I can get you some more information on exactly how that works. I want to send that to you afterwards.
Excellent. Okay. I know that we did for any of you who not familiar with the RSP, the remote support platform, we did a webinar on that with Liam, one of our support guys, probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So if you are, or if you would like to find out a bit more information about the RSP and kind of how that works and the basics, please visit our YouTube channel and you can watch that again. A couple of questions here. Can we get a copy of the slides? Dawn, I don't think that will be a problem, really, if we could send them out.
No,
if you
not at
email
all.
us.
Not at all. I can send that out along with the, and we can make the main SAP documents on the new features available as well to you if you've not already seen those.
Excellent. Okay. Question here about the browser access. Obviously, I know that we had a lot of inquiries about this previously. Can you use the browser access on a mobile phone? Now, I guess that would be in reference to the specific browsers that you mentioned. For instance, you can download Chrome apps and Firefox apps. Could you access your SAP Business One solution if you are using a mobile device and you access via Chrome?
I believe that you can now access it on an iPad. That was just something that was made available in patch 4. So I will go back and double check that, but I know that we had previously tried to get it working on an iPad and it wasn't possible, and we were told that was coming. So that was one of the new features that came with patch 4. But I say I'll double check that and we'll get back to you on that exactly.
Perfect. Okay. Another question here from Lorraine. Lorraine, thank you very much. If a document is approved and then changed besides the date, will it go for reapproval?
Once the document has been approved, then it still can't be modified in terms, in just the same way as it couldn't be modified now. So it's only when it gets rejected that it can get edited.
Excellent. Okay. Guys, we've just got a couple more moments now, so if you do have any more questions, please send those through to Dawn now before we wrap things up. A question here from Chris. Do you have any webinars planned showing the production start and end dates and standard costings in SAP 9.2? Okay, Chris. Obviously, I'm sure that you're well aware that we kind of do, that we run a Wednesday webinar series. We are in the process at the moment of reviewing some topics and creating a new schedule for those webinars. So if you could just keep an eye out maybe in the next few weeks around dates and topics that we're planning. I know that obviously because 9.2 is very important at the moment, we're kind of getting our heads together and just trying to devise some topics, but we will certainly try and do something around those once we've kind of got to grips with 9.2 ourselves.
Okay. Again, Chris, you may also find some SAP videos on that on YouTube as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Again, in the sort of full sort of PowerPoint and PDF document, there'll be a bit of an explanation in there about the changes around resource, start and end dates and standard costing.
Yeah. What we can do, Chris, is we can actually send you the official videos if you'd like, or send you the links certainly, so you can kind of check those things out. Okay, that's great. Right, we don't have any more questions that have come in. What I'd like to do is I'll just start to give it just a few more seconds just to see if we do have any more. If not, what we'll do is we'll just wrap things up today. Dawn, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Obviously, we hope that's been a help. Like I say, there are 48 new features in 9.2, so it's very difficult for us to kind of get our heads around the major releases as such. That's why we kind of focused on maybe some of the obscure ones which are of real interest as well. But like I say, what we plan to do in the coming weeks is we will release some topics as part of our Wednesday webinar series, and I'm sure that we'll focus on 9.2. Dawn, there doesn't seem to be any more questions that have come in, so I will thank you again for your time. Like I say, if you do have any questions around version 9.2, feel free to email us marketing@milnerbrowne.com, or you can get us on the general email address, which is info@milnerbrowne.com. And please keep an eye out for our webinar series coming up as well. Okay, that's it for today. Dawn, thank you very much.
Thank you everybody for your attention. I hope you enjoyed that, and we'll be speaking to you soon. Bye.
Bye bye.